Before I start my speech, I would like to say that it won't make much sense right now during my first rough draft of it because I will need a screen recording of me in the program actually doing these actions in order for it to make perfect sense and for the viewers to follow along or get really what I'm talking about in the speech. And that will be in the final one. But until then, I hope you enjoy this rough one. And with that being said, hi, my name is Elon Harris, and today I'll be teaching you all how to do the basics of modeling in a CAD program. Now, the program that I'll be using today is called Onshape. It is a free program that is run through your browser. All you have to do to start it is just make an account. I would suggest a student account due to that being more accessible and an easier account process to do for a beginner. Other than that, I'll be teaching you how to draw shapes, make those shapes into 3D objects, and then make those 3D objects move in relation to one another, whether that be through sliding or rotating around one another, stuff like that. So to start, with you drawing your shapes, you can just go top left-hand corner and select the Create Part option, the Create Document option, and from there you can go into this document, and what you are greeted with is 3 squares in sort of a T formation in the middle of your screen. And what these squares do is allow you to draw on them. They're called planes. So once you're in the program, you should select one of the planes and you should click up into the top right hand corner. There's a button or top left hand corner, sorry. There's a button that says Sketch. Once you click that, a whole bunch of options appear along the top of the screen. Some will allow you to draw shapes, others will allow you to draw different types of lines. And for my final demonstration, I'll be choosing a shape. But if you're following along, you can choose any of them, just as long as you make sure that the shape will do it automatically. It will fill itself in and make itself shaded, and that's how you know it's a closed shape. But if you're using lines, then you will have to close it yourself. Now, once you have this closed shape, we can move on to our second section, which is making that shape 3D. So, while still being in that sketch, there should be an option called Extrude. Once you click that, it will bring down a drop-down menu with several options. The only one you really need to worry about is the extrude depth, which by default says 1 inch. You can change that to 2 inches, 3 inches, it doesn't really matter. And once you extrude that, you should hit the check mark and you should have a 3D shape there. Now, I would like you to please repeat this process one more time and make a second shape within your same part studio. Now, once you have these 2 shapes, I want you to look at the options up in the top, and you should see 2 called, there's one called Fillet and there's one called Chamfer. These 2 options do very similar things. Fillet rounds corners off. Chamfer makes it a flat, like, cut through the corner. So if you have a 90-degree corner, it would put a 45-degree cut through it, cutting the corner off that way. Now you can select any of these and you can change how big they are, how much they cut off in their options, and you can test those on the edges of your model. And the other option that I would like you to mess with is one you already know well. It is your sketch option. Not only can you sketch on the planes, you can sketch on the faces of the model itself. So if you draw another shape onto your model, you can then extrude it to continue building your model from where it already is. You can add pieces to your model, or you can make a hole through your model or subtract a side off your model. The possibilities are really endless. Now, once you've made that, you can move on to our next thing, which is making these pieces move. So there should be an option at the bottom of your screen that says Assembly. Once you click on that option, or that tab, you can go into the part Assembly, and there should be an option that says Insert. Once you click on that, it should bring down a drop-down menu where you can select your part studio and bring in all of your parts that you have just made. Once those parts are in your assembly, you should be able to move them around freely, which is good for some things and not great for other things. For what we're doing, I would like you to right-click on whatever object you do not want to move and hit Fix on that menu. That will make it so you cannot move that object, however your other object should be free to move still. And in my demonstration, I'll be using one of the tools. All of the tools in the assembly are called mates. Those are the tools that make the objects move in relation to one another. I will be using the planar mate for my demonstration. So once you're in these mates, some of them require edges to be clicked, others require faces. The one I'm using is a planar mate again, and it goes off faces. So as you can see, I will be clicking two faces, a face on one of each of my objects. And once I select those two faces and hit the check mark, it will be able to slide freely along the faces. So the parts will be moving along one another like this, as you can see. And even if you move the parts off to the side so they're not touching, if I go to a side view here, you can tell that they are still in line with one another in the two planes that I selected, or in the two faces I selected. And this mate itself can be used for so many different things. Like if you've cut a hole through your part that is the same size as your other part, then you can line two faces up this way and line two faces up perpendicular to those, and it will just make a slot that one part is sliding through the other one on. This can be used for anything from tracks to bicycle chains. Like the possibilities of it are really like insane. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all I wanted to teach you all today. So I hope that you enjoyed my demonstration and speech to go along with it of how to do the basics of modeling in CAD and Onshape more specifically. And I know that this was a little too short to delve too deep into it, so I hope that you all will find your own time to explore the program a little more and learn more about it. And if not, that's okay too, I understand. So thank you for your time, and have a nice day.